just said again. And then I'm gonna copy the link and close that window so it stops. But give me like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Let's see.
Just that again. Yeah. And then I'm gonna copy the link and close that window so it's. There you go. Exactly what I said. What happened? And then back to the Zoom. I will send the link here
Just
so that you have it already.
Will ich jetzt einen Livestream machen?
So.
Go ahead. It's very nice.
Like this. Bit odd on my side. Yeah. So closing the chat. Then we can start recording, but let's just wait until a few more people pop up. And the sound is good, enough brightness for them to see your pictures. Any comments, anything that you'd like me to know before I start?
Pedro. Einfach Blätter. Leere. Ja, also es geht jetzt gerade neben mir. In einer halben Stunde. Okay? Ist gut? Hä? Das ist nachher eine Aufnahme.
Here, it's up here. Yes, it's good. Yeah, I think we're good to go. We'll start the recording and I'll do an introduction. Then you can carry on with the presentation. How long do you think it's going to take?
About, well, roughly 20 minutes, 18, 17 minutes, something like that.
So that exercise, that's the way to go. Oh, man. So how would you like to be introduced? Adventurer? What is a eponym?
Yeah, that's right. Adventurer and natural leader.
All right. So off we go to the recording. So the cloud should be fine. There you go, Marco. It's a long time no see. It's been what, 6-7 hours.
That's right.
Good to have you on the telly after dunking us in the frozen waters of Schwarzsee, which everybody ended up learning a lot from and enjoying, one would hope. So
I enjoyed it too.
This. Yeah, that was a really great experience. I'm quite sure everybody would agree. And thanks so much for sharing your TEDx in Glarus, right? So not exactly the most famous Swiss canton from the latest hit parade records, but it's a lovely place. It's basically one big valley, which is really cool. And we wish you the best of luck with that. So just on the way of a quick introduction, Marcus is an adventurer, natural leader. He's been doing lots of really, really interesting things like walking across Greenland and living in the wilderness in Canada. And I'm sure the list is very long, but I don't want to throw any spoilers to the slideshow that is going to be regaling our eyes with. Plus the presentation, which should last around 20 minutes, and then you have plenty of time for questions and follow-ups, and maybe some feedback on the ice bath session we had this morning, because the memories are very fresh. Like you still have some dopamine left in their systems. But thanks, Marcus. The floor is all yours, and thanks again for being here with us.
That's great. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure today. So welcome. Good evening. Early spring. Hello. Hi there. Yeah, good evening. Early spring 2008, I made a marriage proposal to my wife, to Sabrina, while I was wearing gumboots and a life jacket far out in the wilderness of Canada. I thought my chances were pretty good, not only because I was dressed perfectly, but also because Sabrina had no chance escaping from me out here. It happened that we paddled 2,000 k's down the Yukon River, and both of us thought at that time, and now actually, Sorry for that, but it's not, I can't change the photos.
Okay, so is that possible to click on them one at a time?
It's like frozen, huh?
It's a left bottom. Left bottom.
Yeah, so you should be using a PowerPoint controls. I assume this is a software you have.
Yeah, hang on. Well, usually I was just able to click the hang on. So we'll check. That's, oh, now it works, but hang on.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that boat has sailed.
So I just have to start again, I guess, huh?
That's all right. I mean, you can.
Yeah,
I think as it's a rehearsal, yeah, you're most welcome to start again.
Yeah, I'll start again. Okay. Good evening. In the early spring 2008, I made a marriage proposal to Sabrina while I was wearing gumboots and a life jacket far out in the wilderness of Canada. And I thought my chances were pretty good, not only because I was dressed perfectly, but also Sabrina had no chance escaping from me out here. It happened that we paddled down 2,000 k's on the Yukon River, and both of us thought at that time this would be our last big adventure. The reason for it was that Sabrina was already 4 months pregnant, and everyone around us said, finally, you guys will settle down. What we experienced was amazing. It was the quietness, the pure and wild nature that really touched us. Sabrina, being pregnant, felt very comfortable in this environment. She completely trusted in herself, believing her body was made for this, so why doubt it? There was no negative stress and no one that could interfere or change her way of thinking, because we were completely cut off to the outside world by not having a communication device. You could call this being stupid, but coming from a generation, having grown up without all those tools, it didn't seem important to us then. Not being connected to the outside world made us be more connected to ourselves and really focus on what we were doing and how we were doing it. By the way, Sabrina said yes to my proposal, and soon after our first child, Amira, was born. We realized settling down was not for us. Living our passion was what we truly wanted, and with Amira, it became even more meaningful. When Amira was 18 months old, we had this dream of finding a long-lost cabin far out in the wilderness of Canada. But therefore, we would have to travel into the wilderness for many months, facing a problem. How on earth can we, beside our child, carry food and supplies for such a long time? And the answer to that was by doing it with horses. Before we took off to Canada, we did not have any experience with horses, and there was people telling us this is impossible and irresponsible to take a little child on such an adventure. But when you follow your passion, you also have the will to learn, and things become normal for you. Don't listen to people when they say it's not possible to do what you want to do, because they might be a fish trying to climb a tree, talking to you being a monkey. When we had to cross the river, and we had to do this often, we didn't just do it casually. Having Amira with us made us be even more careful, being aware of any kind of danger, knowing that every little mistake could be fatal. The horses had heavy loads to carry, but so did we, knowing that we have the full responsibility for our little child. And that responsibility we could not pass on to someone else. Soon, we also got used to not having a trail, but finding our own one. Not having a given trail also means that you can make your own decisions, taking the path in life that is the right one for you. Our senses really became alive because of the quietness we faced, also being the only humans out here. And as longer we spent out in nature, as more we became one with it again, and we realized this has once been our natural habitat. Today, we look at the wilderness as being a dangerous place. And yes, it can be. But we are not afraid of driving down the highway, having our child on the back seat, doing 120 k's per hour. Of course, we also faced problems. After about 1 month, we ended up in very dense forest, and moving forward became almost impossible. In a situation like this, of course, stress becomes a factor. And Sabrina and I didn't just keep on singing or whistling peacefully anymore. We actually also started blaming each other, especially the one from us going up front, leading this way. But I'm not going to tell you who that was. Often in life, we start to worry. Like here, we could not get any further. This is the end of our adventure, or a horse could break a leg. No, we shouldn't worry about things and situations that haven't happened yet. Often we create these problems just in our heads. They're not reality. Sabrina and I, we also had to understand that this is part of it when you dare to step out of your comfort zone. But it was still the place we wanted to be because this was our dream, our passion. But it would be a lie to say, I'm always positive, because I'm not. But when I was not positive, Sabrina was, or the other way around. And that's why it's so important to be in a strong team with someone you love and someone that can motivate you again. That's the key to success. Fighting through days like this was hard. And one day we actually didn't do more than 1K or 2Ks in 8 hours. But those 2Ks were the most important towards our goal. When giving up is not an option, that's when you become the strongest version of yourself. Finding and reaching this long-lost cabin after 3 months was a very special moment to us, and it brought tears to our eyes. But this feeling could only be so intense because of all the obstacles we had overcome together. And this was only possible because of our passion and respect for each other and nature, as well as basic trust. One of the biggest lessons we learned from this was that having a child does not have to stop you from living your passion. Your child does not make things complicated. It is you thinking that you have to change everything in life, using your child as an excuse for not living your dreams anymore. Soon after, we also decided to spend the entire winter out here. We had no running water, no electricity, and civilization was 200 k's away from us. It basically was like being on Alcatraz with no way to escape. Amira, she was 3 years old by now, and Sabrina was already 5 months pregnant with Naira, knowing there is no doctor within reach. Why did we not become afraid? Our previous adventure has shaped us so strongly, believing in ourselves and each other. It was so quiet out here that we were no longer, that we were diving in so deeply into ourselves and nature that no longer we were observer, but became part of it. It almost felt like we gained more senses, and each of them was strongly expressed. When you have to live off the land, hunting your own food to survive, you can connect even deeper. And Amira wanted to take part in everything we did. And that was so wonderful to see, being able to show her a way of living that is almost not existing in our modern world anymore. When the rabbit filled our stomach, Sabrina used its hide to make mucklocks for Amira. We also caught a lot of fish. But when the variety of food becomes very limited, we became very creative by finding different ways to prepare it. So we built our own smokehouse. Did we know how to smoke fish? No, we didn't. But when you are suddenly not able to Google or ask someone, you become very creative by simply trying things out, finding your own way of doing things because you have to. Being successful hunters, we also needed a toilet, which we built out of material that nature offered us. And even at minus 45 degrees, as you can see, we didn't need a toilet door because wood is such a homely material that actually radiates a lot of heat. Our days, they ended peacefully by candlelight and oil lamps in a cozy warm cabin because of the firewood we chopped every day. There was no luxury as we know it, but the real luxury was the quietness and the time we had for each other. Surviving in the wilderness is hard, but to us, it didn't feel that way because everything we did served a purpose, and it showed us how important it is to do something in life that really suits you and your identity to make you happy. By now, everyone had given up trying to convince us to settle down, and when our second daughter, Naira, was born, we traveled through the outback of Australia with camels. We trained ourselves. But there is a little story to this and how it all happened that we ended up with camels. In 2015, we had planned to ride through Patagonia with horses. Smartest time, we already had horses organized, waiting for us in Patagonia. In Canada, we first had to find them. So well prepared and experienced, we thought this time it'll be an easy game. But what we forgot was that life has always a spare joker in its hand. 2 months previous to our departure, we went for a test ride at home in Switzerland, and our dream was destroyed. Naira turned out to be allergic to horses. I tell you, I first had my problems, of course not with Naira, that was heartbreaking, but it was hard to accept not having this dream ahead of me anymore. But Amira said, well, listen, Mom and Dad, no worries, because the three of us can still ride and Naira can just walk behind us. Of course, this was not an option, but it really made me think, becoming creative, trying to find another solution. And then, just like Mother Nature had a joker, we had one too. Instead of horses, we changed to camels and went to Australia. Australia has the biggest camel population in the world because they introduced them early 19th century. But the real problem is they are all wild. Our plan was to get 4 camels, to build a string so we can all ride and pack them with all the gears and supplies, just like we did in Canada with the horses. Buying 4 wild camels was not a problem, but to train them to become tame, that was something else. Respect towards the animals was very important. It wasn't just up to us how quickly progress was made or when. And after a few months, things started looking really good. And we thought, well, now it's the time to put saddles on them to see how things work out. And they didn't work out. Out of the 4 camels, we only ended up having 2 good ones, which was not enough. This again was hard to accept. And on that day, we were completely devastated. But giving up has never been an option for us. Too often in life, we walk up to a wall and then we stop and turn back instead of thinking how we can climb over it. Being faced with problems is always a chance of making yourself better. Seeing reality brought us to the idea of building a wagon because therefore we only need 2 camels for pulling. And this photo shows me after about 5 months of intense training, very happy and strongly believing that we have now achieved our goal, that by tomorrow we can actually take off into the outback of Australia. But this is what it looked like 2 minutes later, ending up in a ditch. Of course, it was not easy to get back up and continue, especially thinking 2 minutes before that we had achieved our goal. Getting thrown back on the way to your goal, to your dream, is always part of it. But when you find yourself not giving up, also means your dream has a deeper meaning to you and it's worth fighting for. So we continued, and 2 weeks later, our dream became a reality. We took off into the outback of Australia, traveling 1,600 Ks in 3 months and living a family adventure we will never, ever forget. Not long ago, I walked 600 Ks across Greenland on skis. And being out here really makes you feel tiny. It's like being on another planet with no other life around you. Walking 10 hours every day also means that you have a lot of time diving deeply into yourself, thinking about you and your life. And suddenly I had this flashback. I was about 10 years old, sitting in my classroom, looking out the window, daydreaming about myself living some big adventure. My teacher called me to ask for the answer to a question, which of course I did not know because it was completely somewhere else. This happened a lot over the years. And in the school report would always be a note to my parents saying, Marcus is dreaming a lot, he's not focused on his studies. Today, it makes me smile when I see my own children similarly lost in their own daydreams, and it makes me think, what if we took our dreams seriously? What if we listened to them and allow them to guide us towards the lives we truly want to live? I urge you to embrace your dreams because they have a message for you. They hold the key to living the life you truly desire, filled with passion, focus, creativity, basic trust, and respect. And most importantly, they remind us that life is meant to be lived to the fullest. So I encourage you to take a step back from the hustle and bustle of daily life and ask yourself, what is my dream life? What fills me with a sense of purpose and joy? Then use that passion to guide your actions, to fuel your creativity, and to cultivate a deep sense of trust in yourself. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you too will embrace your dreams and live the life you were meant to lead. Thanks.
Anyone for questions?
I want to ask, what was the longest journey in life? I mean, time, like months?
Yeah, like in terms of how long each of the adventures lasted, which one was the longest?
Yeah, that was well in Australia. It actually we were 9 months in Australia. Like it took about 6 months to train the camels, and then we traveled for another 3 months with them. And in Canada, like we went there a few times. Like the first time we went for half a year to find their cabin, and then actually we went back for another summer. Went with horses again. That's when we also spent the entire winter there. And then we actually used to live in Canada for almost 2 years.
All right.
Yeah, and then we had another. You've seen that photo with the horses. That was actually taken in Kyrgyzstan. It was almost 2 years ago when we traveled for 2 years in the Tian Shan Mountains of Kyrgyzstan.
Was that in Isikul?
That was, yeah, that's right. Sort of just on the southern side, and that's where when the mountains start, where you get into the closer to the Chinese border.
Right. So it's kind of the beginning of the pioneers that lead into Tajikistan.
Yeah.
Oh, someone here has been to Tian Shan. So you met her today, Anastasia. She was the one helping you cut the ice blocks.
Yeah. Hello.
So, yeah.
Thanks for
You
cutting.
have multiple points of contact in common. Right. So one question I have is, what about the beacons? Did you have any sort of safety, like no coverage and all? But was there a way for you to call for?
Yeah, we did when like when we went up, when we took off with the horses, we actually had the what do you call it? The spot messenger,
Right.
like an emergency beacon. And in winter, we also had a sat phone when Sabrina was pregnant there. So we could always, we could contact someone if needed.
But what are the rules for you to contact someone? Well, what is the definition of an emergency for you?
Well, we had, well, like the emergency button really is like the 911. That's when it's basically life-threatening. And but there was a help button too, if needed, which we actually had connected to one of the bush pilots we knew in the area. So if something would have gone wrong, we could have, and it's something that's not life-threatening, we could have get in contact with him.
Yeah, because something here where we're based at the Jakobshorn is 2,600 meters, so it's around 9,000 feet. 6 days ago, the gentleman who was managing the bar on the terrace had a heart attack.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's gone, right? So it is.
Oh, he died?
Remote. Yes, he did. So
wow.
No one had any clue that he had a condition. Surely he didn't, or if he did, he was taking risks that perhaps were a little bit exaggerated. And it was all very sudden. But if you have a case like this, then there's not much you can do anyway. It's more like if you have a situation where bleeding cannot be stopped, and you really only have a few hours, you need to make sure that you're ring fencing everything to protect your family from that happening. And I was just wondering if you could tell us a few of the things that you did to feel safer, to feel like the problems that he could have would be of the type that would give you time to solve them safely as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was really that we found too that everything we did more careful because of knowing that we are, I think also you're more in that, it's totally quiet. You focus on what you're doing and you're aware of the dangers that can happen or that are around you. But we were basically like, we were never ill, we were never sick, and also knowing, using knives and axe and everything, it just we just had to be careful and sort of that sort of basic trust too. It's after being out there for a long time, you feel comfortable. It doesn't feel like you're in a, it becomes normal, just like life here. And like, of course we knew that even the bush pilot, like if he would have flown to come and get us in winter, it was basically 2 hours by plane to come out there. So
if you're lucky, right? Because the weather could turn and then you have to.
And the weather can turn, that's right. So you can't just, even if you have a sat phone or an emergency beacon, it's not, you can't just rely on that.
Yeah.
But
what are the closest shaves that you had, as in the top 2 or 3 in which you're like, wow, we got lucky there?
Oh, we once were very lucky. We almost burned down the cabin. but that was in summer, and it would have been too late to get rescue anyways. So we were able to. We had a chimney fire, and but we were really lucky. We were able to. All we had was a bucket, and we had to run down to the water, or Sabrina did, and just fill it up. And one was throwing water on the roof, and the other one was running. Sabrina was running to the lake and fill it up, and yeah, so that was quite a close call, to not life-threatening for us, but it could have been really, really bad, just having the whole cabin burnt down. Yeah. And at one point we actually we lost the horses. We had to find them. It took about 3 days before we got them all back. Yeah.
Yeah, the question is about wild animals. I was going to ask if you met any Kodiaks and ask for an autograph.
There's grizzly bears out there, there's black bears out there, but we never had a close encounter or any dangerous moments. But it was also, I often find that bears are actually can be more of a problem in national parks when there is a lot of
food around,
action, a lot of food around, a lot of people visiting, and the bears become used to the humans, and they sort of lose respect for each other, or don't see the human as being a danger to them. So out in nature, like out in the wild, it was basically, there's so much room, and no, we never had any close calls. They sort of they were around, and there was lots of bear prints, there was lots of wolf prints, and but that was also nice, even sometimes if you don't see the animals, it's just nice to know they're around.
So the most dangerous animals you met were other humans?
I would say, yeah. Yeah, and it's just beautiful to see wild animals around you. That's what I often miss coming home, like if you go hiking here where you are right now in summer, I mean, there's cows, but often you don't see much more than cow prints. So it's really nice when you're out there somewhere and there's all these different animals around you, and it just feels really nice.
Yeah. Marcus, I have been working with war victims all my life.
Wow.
Afghanistan, Sudan, South Sudan, African Republic,
Yeah.
Yemen, Somalia, Kenya, and
right.
Here is war victims as well. And I have asked around, and I must say that if we could give you all a suggestion, that would be to change this picture to something else, because it looks like your children are missing a limb. It looks like they are the mine.
They're running.
Accident. I know, but you cannot see the rest of their legs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
but you can see big smiles in their faces.
Yes, and I could see children without limbs and without arms having the same smile.
Yeah.
So just if you want to project a happy image, maybe you want to have your children have both of their legs showing.
Yeah, you can crop it at a tight level, and then you don't have the issue anymore.
Yeah.
The smiles and the camels.
It's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
25 years with war victims and working with children who had their arms and legs blown up in the minefields. This is not a happy image.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mentioned there was a gun hanged in the wall, in the wood house. Is the gun used for hiking?
Oh, there was a gun in your wooden house. I mean, were you hunting with that gun?
Yeah, that was for grouse. Grouse. It's like a small chicken.
Yeah, it's like pellets, or you actually had something.
Yeah, you can use both pellets or slugs.
Right. You just select the cartridge.
But just bird shots, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Just hunting birds.
So what was the biggest animal you hunted?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
what
we
is
didn't.
it?
We didn't.
Other than, I
we
guess your
didn't-
wife doesn't count. You're
No,
chasing her for a while.
actually in Australia we had a permit to hunt emus.
Oh,
Emu
these are
is
true
like,
meat eaters. Yeah, they're
You know,
really
the big
cool.
birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we.
Really cool.
Yeah. That was very tasty meat. And in Canada, we basically only went for had a license for small animals like, like rabbits and grouse, and then we fished.
And about the training, what was the training? Because if you started, like, you already let the people about to go to white.
Yeah, so you always been very fit, right? Because you've always been into sports. So how did you train for this? You're talking fitness levels?
No,
Or?
okay, fitness, you can gain it, yeah.
Yeah.
If your house permits, you can gain
Like
it.
skills.
But skills like
Yeah.
hunting, like traps.
How did you learn those things?
traps.
Yeah, all basically a lot. Like, I mean, I used to fish when I was a small boy already, or a young kid, but that was just fishing. And then all the rest we basically picked it up in Canada. We used to we had friends there, and we went on hunts with them, and they showed us a lot of things, how it's done, and then learning by doing.
Yeah, like the smokehouse, you just figured out that you needed a place to contain the smoke, right? So what was the thought process when inventing your own smokehouse?
Yeah, we just, being out there, you suddenly have all these ideas, and we built lots. Like, we built tables and benches and toilet, and you just become very creative. I like doing that. And then when you're out there and you have time, and it's actually really nice making things with, when you don't have a lot of tools, just with what you got.
Yeah.
I mean, we were able to cut those boards you've seen on the for the smokehouse or for the toilet. We actually had a chainsaw in winter, but just very limited with gas. So we just used it for things like that, and then sometimes for chopping a dead tree to get firewood. And then we had, handsaw and everything as well.
Yeah. How many people with your skill sets and experience do you think exist in Switzerland? Do you have peers that say, yeah, I know we did something equivalent, and they happen to be here?
I don't know. There's probably plenty around, I guess, but
yeah, I never came across someone with your background, quite being born in Luzern and ending up in the wilderness, the outback. I mean, life in Switzerland is quite comfortable. You don't have to go away from it.
Yeah, that's right. But I think sometimes it's just it can be too comfortable too, I mean, too comfortable in way. Of course, it's nice to have it comfortable. And it's also, I mean, it's also, how should I say, it's a gift that we actually have the possibility to do things like that. I mean, that's, yeah, that allows us to go and travel. I mean, it's not everywhere like that. So Swiss definitely are privileged, I say. But then on the other hand, also, I think it's also nice to step out of that comfort to go somewhere where you can, get closer to yourself again, get away from daily rush. Have it quiet, go out in nature, and it's so hectic often here in Switzerland too that it's, yeah, like I said, too much. Sometimes it can be too much comfort too.
Yeah. What are you concerned about socializing skills of your daughters? How are they adapting to life back here now after so many years?
Oh, really? Yeah, no, really good. They always, it was really nice to see how they enjoyed it being, like actually being out there or in Australia, and then coming back has never been a problem really. they I think it makes them sort of uncomplicated too, and so they have the trust that they will always they can go somewhere and they find new friends, or they can be out there between the two of them, and then get along, and then come back and find lots of friends again. But it really, I mean, what I felt like, it was always nice. They just love being outside. They love making fires, and they love getting dirty and be around animals and just camp. Yeah.
They must be fascinating for the other kids, right? When they hear the stories.
It was actually quite funny at one point when Amira went to kindergarten. And she would tell her kindergarten teacher that, that she's seen bears and wolves and, all these stories about being in a cabin or winter and horses and everything. And then at one point, the kindergarten teacher came to us and said, well, your child got a huge fantasy. She tells us all these these stories, and she didn't believe that they were all true. She just thought she's making up stories. That was quite funny.
That's great. What do you think they're going to do when they grow up?
When I came back from Greenland, actually, my older daughter in the red shirt here, she said, Daddy, I want to do that with you one day as well. So she wants to see the big world too. I think they both well, they loved it, and whatever they will do in their own life, I mean, it's they got to go in their own way, and but it's of course nice to see if they, being like loving what we like so much too. But it's important that they go their own way, I guess. So,
do you think they'll still love you if you chuck them into freezing water?
Well, they have tried that too. They're they're not highly, how do you say? I mean, they jump in rivers and cold water, and but they actually tried the ice bath out here in my garden too, and but it's not that I want to do it every day.
Do you want to talk about the experience today with the ice bath? So, any questions, comments?
He was telling to me all day that all I want one more time, all I want one more time.
Yeah, come and tell us so yeah, we have a fan. Yeah.
Can we change the image, please?
Yeah, could you change the slide? Or maybe you switch off the images or put something more cheerful from that perspective? It's like the Facebook meta world, people without legs. Yeah, that's Kyrgyzstan, right? I know. Okay.
Oh no, hang on. This.
Oh, it's okay. It's not showing about legs. It's okay.
Oh no.
Oh, that's good.
Hang on.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So,
question for you.
Yes.
Off you go.
How long can you hold your breath in a cold water? And does it make you like go longer for holding breath?
and while I'm in the cold water,
yeah,
that's a good question. I think it was about 2 minutes in the cold water. Like outside the cold water, just like we did in the morning in the forest, I once could hold my breath for 4 minutes and 10 seconds. But that, it can totally vary. Like often I can do 2.5 minutes, sometimes 3, and then there is days there is less. So it's it's changing.
You're giving the TEDx tomorrow. There's a TED that was given by David Blaine, and he had the world record breath holding session in a TV show, something in the US, for more than 17 minutes. And,
Yeah, that's
he
crazy.
was
I've
doing,
heard of that.
ice exposure. So he joined one of the Explorers Club sessions as a keynote speaker, and he was giving his classes a bit like you did today on breath holding. And I got to 3 minutes. Some of the people in the audience, because they're divers, and especially those that do underwater photography, they kept on going until 7 minutes. And you're like, this 6-year-old gentleman just would not breathe because he had no need to.
Yeah, that's
really impressive.
unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be very interesting. I heard of that guy too, actually. I think I've seen him.
I'll send you a link. It's an interesting TED for you to watch.
Yeah, please. That's good. Hey, and thanks again for today. It was really nice that we got such beautiful weather too.
Oh, fantastic.
And so did you go up to the mountain afterwards?
Yeah, to the top of Davos, right?
Right.
Joch,
Yeah.
2,840.
Ah, perfect.
And,
So
the weather is just flawless.
you had a big day today.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. No, I thought about you being up there somewhere. I thought you'll have a beautiful view. Yeah. And everyone warm now too?
Sorry?
Is everyone warm now too?
Yeah, everybody's warm here. No, it's after dinner.
Yeah.
Plenty of calories. Sorry. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Well,
the question is your babies, they were born in hospital or in the wilderness?
no, actually, she was born in hospital. Just a few days up, like we moved probably 2 weeks up before we another 2 weeks till late 9th month we stayed out there, and then our friend with the pilot picked her up and flew her out, and I actually walked out on skis with a sled, just like in Greenland. And so I got back in time, just like 2 days or 3 days previous to before the little one was born.
But being a Swiss baby, she was born with the skis already on, right? We saw a few of those here.
Yeah, they both ski and snowboard too. Yeah, oh, they love it. Yeah.
So what about follow-up actions that the group here could consider if they want to do cold showers in the morning and they kind of get bitten by the bug of cold exposure?
Yeah. Well, I advise you, like, if you like, with the cold showers are great. Like if you you can, in the morning or whenever you have a shower, you can start off with a normal warm shower, and then at the end, and then you finish with a cold one. And what helps doing also is when you're in the warm shower, you just start breathing, deeply in, let it out, deeply in, let it out. Just maybe do 20, 30 breaths, and then you change. You already focus on your breath, and then you turn it to cold, and then basically the same as with going into the cold water today. Just try and keep that breathing rhythm going. Focus on that, and then it helps. I mean, you can just start with half a minute or whatever feels right, and then sort of build it up, and do 2 minutes at the end or whatever, and then you always finish with a cold. Don't go back to warm. I mean, you can go back to warm, but always finish with a cold. You can also start off warm, do cold, 1 minute cold, do warm again, and then do 1 minute cold again, and then finish. What's also good for your mindset is if you can also, when after practicing a bit, you can go into the cold straight away and then have a warm shower in between, and then go back to cold. But you'll find out yourself also, just, it would be wrong to say you got to do it this long and then this long. Just basically listen to your body, what feels good.
saves on coffees too. It wakes you up without the caffeine.
Yeah, that's right. No, you have a really good start to the day if you have a cold shower. It really gets you going.
Could you tell us a bit more about how you heard about Wim Hof and what you learned from him versus what you learned by doing?
Oh, I was just pretty much fascinated right from the start, but I heard I mean, for many years I just sort of this name Wim Hof rang a bell, but I didn't quite follow too much. And then suddenly I got I don't know, I've seen it on a post or something, and it really got me interested, because I thought this is something I like to try. So, and the good thing was that's a few years ago, and then I just brought it into daily routine. I also did a few online courses that go for like 3 months, and you have your how do you say, things to do each day. So he guides you through for 3 months, basically. You have a program for every day, and I just followed it. And then when I finished the program, it's just something I never stopped doing, because it just felt like I was addicted to it. That it just, when I get up in the morning, I sort of need my cold shower, and I really enjoy the breathing too, because it's something that, you know, like we said before, like sometimes daily life can be stressful, right? And sometimes it's just good to have a tool, you know, that I can say, well, okay, too much now. I got to take a seat or lay down for 10 minutes, do my breathing. And then it's like turning off your computer or your mind and restart it. So it feels really good.
It acts like a reset button that you
Exactly.
know where
Yeah.
it is. You don't always press it, but you know you can, right? Whenever it's needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I read a research on a cold shower that says that it increases dopamine level of dopamine by 2.5, by above the baseline.
Yeah.
The very fascinating thing about it is that it increases it by time. So it's not like the very fast increase. It's like 5 hours, and you feel better and better in these 5 hours. So it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you know what
jump
it feels
out in
like.
the snow again.
Well, the hole in the ice is not going anywhere, right? So you can pass by tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's
Friday.
right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
the application, you are absolutely correct, is much safer than the one you had prepared before.
Yeah, I think so too, because just the fact that you can walk out is, it makes it a lot safer.
Proven by the fact
especially
that I fell
now
into it.
too. Now it's gonna cool down again a bit. I think next week as well. But it was so warm yesterday too, and the ice just becomes weak.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're coming to an end to the session. I'm sure that
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
I gotta
your
go
kids must
too.
be asking, what are you doing, Daddy? You know, stop staring at this device. Come here and have a life with us, the real one.
Say it again. Have a what?
It's like maybe your kids are the ones telling you to stop staring at a screen. You know, the real life is this way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So final rounds. Any questions?
Another question.
Yeah, go for it. Same price.
Did you have did you face any diseases or infections during any of your journeys?
During the trips?
Yeah. Did you face any diseases or infections?
No, never. No, I mean, like in Kyrgyzstan, like when we drank the kumis, this is like
fermented mare milk.
Yeah, that's right. I liked it, and in many places I was fine, and then but one point just got bad diarrhea, but that was all. No, but otherwise we were always healthy, which is nice.
Fantastic.
No bacteria around when not too many people, I guess, and living a healthy life too, I think. So, yeah.
When is the book being published about your life?
Oh, I'd like to. I actually, we once wrote, we actually have a little, but it's only in German. Like, yeah, we have a book, but I'd like to do a bigger one with like a coffee table book with lots of photos too. But I haven't done it yet.
All right, so one more question. Did you have any medicine with you, and which ones?
Yeah, but we had a lot of well, we had a lot of how do you call homeopathics. Basically a whole lot of homeopathics, and Sabrina's really good with it. Of course, we also had, had other painkillers or something, but to be honest, we never really needed anything apart from something against diarrhea or a painkiller, but not often at all. I mean, in when I was crossing Greenland, we had everything, for you name it. I mean, everything. If you really have bad injury or basically anything that's on the market, I guess, painkiller, really strong stuff. But I never had to touch anything. So knock on wood.
A silly question. How was the laundry done, or it was not done?
Just in
I was just thinking about my socks today after the walk.
No, but in Canada we had a lot of, there's lots of creeks, lots of rivers or lakes, so we always went for a swim, and the washing we've done in the water too. Yeah.
But no soaps or detergents. You just
we had these, the boxes you have, what we had for the horses to carry all our stuff. They're quite big boxes, and in there we put water in there, and special soap that is natural. So we washed it in there a bit, but of course you get, things get dirty, and deodorant is by sitting by the fire, sort of get the smoke.
Yeah, you're steaming yourself.
The sense, yeah.
All right. So, any other questions? Laundry, deodorant. What's missing there? Like hair gel.
And you sent us a book. They advise it to take antibiotics. Not antibiotics. Antibiotics and aspirin. What do you think about antibiotics?
Oh, we have a little survival library, like a selection of 20 books.
Yeah, you sent me those photos.
Yeah, so they checked one of those, and there was a recommendation of bringing antibiotics with you, and he's asking, what do you think about those? I mean, I guess it depends on the situation and
antibiotics, that's the word. That's what we had too. Yeah,
they had that just in case it gets really bad.
What a group of as a university it's a hidden shot.
Which one?
Which one? Antibiotic?
Which kind of antibiotics did you take?
Oh, sorry, I would not know actually. I would not know anymore.
And what about your animals? Would they ever get sick? As in, what are your camels now?
No, they're in the camels. They're in Australia on a camel farm.
Oh, nice. So they still send you postcards, saying, "I miss you, Dad."
Yeah. Well, I gotta go, and soon.
That was it. So finishing with the camels are alive. Everything is fine. Nothing to fear. So,
and
other than your own fear. Cool, Marcus. So thank you so much for this morning.
Thank you. And thanks for sending the photos.
Pleasure.
And we'll keep in touch.
Yep, sounds good. So
enjoy your stay.
Yeah.
All you guys. Yeah, back there.
I think we have a last one. Last one.
Does he have any social media
Oh yeah, asking for the social media. Have your website. Do you have something else?
Can you check photos or something?
Yeah, the website is I'll send it through to you.
Like
We'll
Instagram or something with the pictures that you shared at the moment or whatever you've done before.
there's lots of photos and movies about Australia as well on the website on YouTube.
Right.
But I'll send you the links.
Super.
Marcelo. Hey?
I'll show them on the website. I posted already in Facebook and LinkedIn about the session.
There's a few. Have a look. There's a few movies or short videos, trailers that you can watch on. The kids and how we traveled with the camels.
All right.
And training them, and yeah. So it's
Super. So thanks again.
I'll send it to you, Marcelo.
I'll send you some materials as well about David Blaine and holding the session.
Perfect.
All right. So,
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
best of luck
Bye
tomorrow.
then. Bye now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.